Three major tractor brands. Three completely different corporate structures behind them, and in 2026, the difference between those structures shows up directly in your repair bill, your resale value, and how long your machine sits in the shed waiting on a fault code. This is Farm Gear Pro. Today we are running a straight three-way comparison, Case IH, John Deere, and Fendt, on ownership, repair access, financial health, and resale. No story, just the numbers you need before signing a purchase agreement. Let's get into it. Start with Case IH, because understanding where this brand sits today requires understanding its corporate parent. Case IH is owned by CNH Industrial, which also owns New Holland. Both brands share engineering platforms, dealer infrastructure, and precision agriculture technology in many regions. Case IH, owned by CNH Industrial, also owns New Holland, shared engineering and dealer infrastructure. CNH Industrial's agricultural headquarters for the Americas operates out of Racine, Wisconsin, putting major decision-making infrastructure on U.S. soil rather than overseas. Case IH runs the AFS Connect telematics and precision agriculture platform across its Magnum and Steiger tractor lines. AFS Connect handles guidance, data management, and remote diagnostics, competing directly with John Deere's Operations Center and AGCO's Precision EG platform. Case IH, AFS Connect platform. Magnum and Steiger series, guidance and remote diagnostics. On the repair access question, CNH Industrial has publicly committed to expanding diagnostic tool access for farmers and independent shops as part of broader industry right-to-repair commitments made across 2023 and 2024. That commitment is meaningful. But it is also a commitment still in active rollout, not a completed transition. For an operator buying a new Case IH machine in 2026, the practical diagnostic access depends on which model year and which specific systems are covered under the current rollout phase. CNH commitment. Active rollout. Not yet a completed transition across the full lineup. The Magnum series has a long track record in the US market. It has been a Corn Belt staple since the late 1980s, and the platform has been continuously updated without a major brand identity disruption. On the dealer side, Case IH benefits from CNH's combined network with New Holland in most major row crop regions. In the Corn Belt and Great Plains specifically, Case IH dealer density is generally stronger than Fendt's current footprint, though it remains behind John Deere's national coverage. Case IH dealer network. Stronger than Fendt in Corn Belt and Great Plains. Behind John Deere nationally. Resale data on Case IH equipment sits in what most auction analysts describe as a middle position. Solid, stable, but without the recent premium pattern showing up on late-model Fendt units. Now John Deere, and the financial picture here is the most important context for understanding everything else about this brand in 2026. John Deere's net income fell from $10.2 billion in fiscal 2023 to $5,027 billion in fiscal 2025, a drop of roughly half the company's earnings in 2 years. John Deere, FY 2023, net income $10.2 billion, FY 2025, net income $5.27 billion, third straight year of decline. The 2026 forecast sits between $4 billion and $4.25 billion, a projected fourth consecutive year of decline, even as the CEO publicly described 2026 as the bottom of the cycle. Alongside that financial decline, John Deere laid off more than 3,500 workers across Iowa and Illinois facilities between October 2023 and September 2025. The Waterloo plant, Deere's largest tractor manufacturing facility, saw 6 separate rounds of layoffs in 2024 alone, with over 1,000 positions cut at that single location. 3,500 plus layoffs. Iowa and Illinois, October 2023 to September 2025. Waterloo hit hardest. At the same time, John Deere confirmed it was moving skid steer and compact track loader production from Dubuque, Iowa, to a new facility in Ramos, Mexico, scheduled to be operational by the end of 2026. Now the legal side of John Deere's situation, which is where the repair access conversation becomes a documented legal matter rather than just a policy debate. The Federal Trade Commission filed a formal antitrust lawsuit against John Deere in January 2025 under Section 2 of the Sherman Act, specifically targeting the dealer-only diagnostic software model. FTC lawsuit, John Deere. January 2025, Section 2 Sherman Act, dealer-only diagnostic model. A federal judge denied John Deere's motion to dismiss that case in June 2025, meaning the antitrust claims survived initial legal challenge and proceeded toward further proceedings. In April 2026, a separate class action lawsuit produced a $99 million settlement. As part of that settlement, John Deere committed to making diagnostic software available to farmers and independent shops, with offline reprogramming capability promised through Operations Center Pro service by the end of 2026. $99 million settlement, April 2026. Diagnostic software access committed by end of 2026. The FTC's separate federal antitrust case remains active as of May 2026. The class action settlement closed one legal track, but the core business model question is still in front of a federal judge. What this means practically: a John Deere machine purchased today operates under the architecture that triggered the original lawsuit, with the promised changes still months away from full implementation. That gap between the legal commitment and the current reality is a real factor in any 2026 purchase decision involving John Deere equipment. Gap between legal commitment and current reality. Machine purchased today runs old architecture. On the resale side, late-model John Deere 8R and 9R units are accumulating at Ritchie Brothers and Big Iron auction lots across Iowa, Illinois, and Nebraska in volumes that did not exist 5 years ago. Before we go further, if Farm Gear Pro is giving you the straight equipment and financial analysis you have been looking for, hit subscribe right now. We cover this every week: real numbers, real corporate developments, no dealer talking points. Hit like and share this with any operator comparing brands before a major purchase. Back to it. Now, Fendt and the corporate structure here is genuinely different from both case IH and John Deere in ways that matter for ownership. Fendt is owned by AGCO, which is headquartered in Duluth, Georgia, making AGCO an American parent company, even though Fendt's engineering and manufacturing remains centered in Marktoberdorf, Bavaria. Fendt, owned by AGCO. American parent company, headquartered Duluth, Georgia, engineering in Bavaria. The Fendt Vario continuously variable transmission has been in continuous production since 1995, refined across 3 decades of model years without a major architectural break. On repair access, the European Union adopted a binding right-to-repair directive in 2024, requiring manufacturers selling into the EU to provide owners with tools, software access, and documentation to repair their own machines. Because Fendt sells heavily into the EU market, its diagnostic architecture was already built around that regulatory standard before the directive became legally compulsory. EU Right to Repair Directive, 2024. Binding. Fendt, already aligned before it became law. That timing difference matters directly. Fendt's repair access is a current baseline product characteristic, not a settlement obligation still being implemented on a future deadline. On the dealer network side, AGCO has been actively expanding Fendt's American footprint, particularly across the upper Midwest and Northern Plains. The Fendt Lodge Customer Experience Center in Jackson, Minnesota, serves as a regional training and service anchor supporting that expansion. Fendt Lodge, Jackson, Minnesota. Regional training and service anchor. Upper Midwest expansion. Even with that expansion, the honest picture is that in many rural counties, the nearest Fendt dealer remains a longer drive than the nearest John Deere or Case IH dealer. That gap is real, and it has not fully closed. On resale, used Fendt units across multiple series have been holding value consistently through 2025 and into 2026. Auction results from Sullivan Auctioneers and Steff's Group reflect this pattern. Fendt machines, at comparable hours, are commanding stronger relative resale than equivalent late-model competitors in several recent sales. Used Fendt units. Strong resale through 2025 and 2026. Sullivan Auctioneers and Steff's Group data. That resale strength is a direct 5-year ownership cost variable. A machine that retains more value at trade-in time lowers your effective annual ownership cost regardless of the original purchase price. Now let's put all three side by side on the four variables that actually matter for a 2026 purchase decision. First, repair access. Case IH is mid-rollout on expanded diagnostic commitments. John Deere is legally committed but not yet fully implemented. Fendt already operates under EU-aligned open access as a baseline. Repair access ranking 2026. Fendt already open. Case IH mid-rollout. John Deere committed but not yet live. Second, financial stability of the parent company. CNH Industrial and AGCO have not reported the kind of multi-year profit collapse John Deere has documented across fiscal 2023 through 2025. That financial stability matters for long-term parts availability, dealer support continuity, and the company's ability to honor warranty and service commitments across a 5-year ownership cycle. A manufacturer managing layoffs, production shifts, and tariff pressure simultaneously is managing more variables than one focused purely on product and service delivery. Parent company. Financial stability affects parts availability and warranty commitments over 5 years. Third, dealer density. John Deere wins this category outright with the largest national dealer footprint in American agriculture by a significant margin over both competitors. Case IH holds the middle position through its combined network with New Holland, particularly strong in the Corn Belt and Great Plains. Fendt holds the smallest footprint of the three, though it is the only one actively expanding at the pace AGCO has committed to since 2023. Dealer density ranking. John Deere largest, Case IH middle. Fendt smallest but expanding fastest. Fourth, resale value trajectory. Fendt is currently showing the strongest documented resale pattern of the three brands in 2025 and 2026 auction data. Case IH sits in a stable middle position. John Deere's late-model resale is showing softening at auction, with increased inventory at Ritchie Brothers and Big Iron specifically on 8R and 9R units. Resale trajectory 2026, Fendt strongest, Case I stable. John Deere softening on late-model units. So here is how this actually breaks down for different operator priorities. Without brand loyalty, straight assessment. If dealer proximity and the largest available parts network are your top priority, and your operation cannot tolerate any downtime risk from a smaller dealer footprint, John Deere's infrastructure remains unmatched even with the company's financial pressure documented above. That infrastructure advantage is real, and it has real value, even as the parent company's financial trajectory raises longer-term questions worth tracking. John Deere, infrastructure advantage, real. Financial trajectory raises longer-term questions. If you want a brand benefiting from a combined dealer network, a financially stable parent company, and active right-to-repair commitments currently rolling out, Case IH represents a genuine middle path between the other two. That middle path is not a compromise position. It is a deliberate balance between dealer access and a parent company actively moving toward more open repair architecture. If repair freedom right now, the strongest documented resale pattern, and a transmission platform with 3 decades of continuous refinement are your top priorities. Fendt is delivering on all three as of 2026. Fendt, repair freedom, now, strongest resale pattern. 3 decades of Vario refinement. The honest trade-off on Fendt remains dealer proximity in many rural counties. That gap is closing, but it has not closed, and it belongs in your downtime risk calculation. None of these 3 brands is the wrong choice in every scenario. The right answer for your operation depends on your annual hours, your region's specific dealer density, your tolerance for parent company financial risk, and how much weight you place on diagnostic independence versus dealer proximity. No wrong choice in every scenario. Right answer depends on hours, region, and risk tolerance. What has changed in 2026 is that all 4 of these variables, repair access, parent financial health, dealer density, and resale trajectory, are now publicly documented and directly comparable across all 3 brands in a way they were not 5 years ago. That documentation is what makes the kitchen table math possible in the first place. 5 years ago, An operator comparing these three brands was largely working from dealer pitches and brand reputation. Today, the FTC filings, the CNH commitments, the AGCO resale data, and John Deere's own quarterly earnings reports give you the actual numbers. Documentation available now: FTC filings, CNH commitments, AGCO resale data, John Deere earnings reports. Run the full 5-year model on whichever machine you are considering. Purchase price, projected resale based on current auction data, repair access timeline for that specific brand, and dealer proximity in your specific county. That model, not the dealer pitch, not the brand your father ran, is what tells you which of these three machines actually protects your investment across the next 5 years. FarmGear Pro is going to keep tracking earnings reports, lawsuit developments, dealer network expansion, and auction results across all three brands as 2026 continues into 2027. FarmGear Pro, tracking earnings, lawsuits, dealer expansion, auction results, 2026 into 2027. Because the equipment decision you make this year defines your operation's repair access, resale position, and dealer relationship for the next decade, across all three of these brands. Thanks for watching FarmGear Pro. If you found this breakdown valuable, share it with a fellow farmer and comment below your thoughts on this topic. See you in the next one.